So let's talk about something we all think we know. When is a project really over? Is it when the product ships, when the ribbon is cut? Well, today we're going to dive into why the most important part of any project actually starts after you think you're finished.
And this quote, man, it just hits the nail on the head. This comes from project management professor Brian E. Porter, and he gets right to the core of the problem. There's this huge pressure to just wrap it up and move on to the next shiny thing. But as we're about to see, that mindset, it's incredibly costly.
I mean, you know the feeling, right? The main job is done, the deliverable is out there, so the project must be over. It's a totally natural assumption to make. But what if I told you that thinking this way is one of the biggest, most expensive mistakes an organization can make? Let's break down exactly why.
See, here's the thing. Without a formal professional ending, projects don't just, fade away gracefully. Nope, they can morph into something genuinely dangerous, falling into these really common traps that just bleed time, money, and morale.
First up, you've got the zombie project. It just keeps going. A pretty wild, famous example of this is the Winchester Mystery House. Construction on that house went on 24 hours a day for 38 years straight. Why? Because the project scope was never defined, never closed. It's a perfect, spooky illustration of how a project without a clear end can just consume resources forever.
And then there's the second big danger, the orphan project. This is when you deliver the keys to the client, but you forget to give them the owner's manual, or, driving lessons. The new owners have no clue how to actually operate or maintain this thing they've been given. And without that clear handoff, that sense of ownership, the project is basically abandoned. It's doomed to fail.
So how do we avoid these project-killing traps? Well, the first professional tool in the toolbox is the project audit. And I have to be super clear on this. This is not about finding someone to blame. Not at all. It's about looking back so that the entire organization can move forward, only smarter.
So what even is a project audit, really? Well, it's a formal review of a project against its original plan. But here's the key insight. It's less about judging the final results and way more about evaluating the process, how you actually got there. It's about getting better at the act of doing projects, period. Not just about hitting a specific budget or deadline.
And this slide really gets to the heart of it. An audit is a tool for learning. It is not a witch hunt to find someone to blame or to get someone fired. It needs to be a neutral, objective review. And I love this part. A great audit doesn't just focus on what went wrong. It actively looks for what went right so you can do more of that in the future. It's a tool for learning, plain and simple.
And you can see this constructive purpose when you look at the goals. Audits are there to ensure quality, yeah, but also to spot business risks, help teams get better, and, this is the big one, capture knowledge so you don't make the same dumb mistakes again. It's about aligning the whole project with reality, not just the final product.
Okay, to see why this isn't just some corporate busy work, let's look at a massive, real-world example, the 2008 Beijing Olympics. By all accounts, the events were incredible, totally spectacular, and really well run. But the true cost of that project is a masterclass in why you need a transparent audit.
Okay, get ready for this number. The reported budget was somewhere around $40 billion, but independent estimates put the real cost closer to $80 billion. What's the difference? Well, the official audit didn't seem to account for things like, shutting down all the city's factories for 2 weeks just to clear the air pollution. That's a very real project cost that wasn't on the books. That's a $40 billion gap.
That kind of massive gap really shows why an audit is so critical for learning. But learning is only half the battle. The other half is knowing how to formally and finally end the project, and that's called project closure. This isn't about the work itself, it's all about the administrative process of officially shutting the whole thing down.
Think of it like this. The product might be delivered, but the project is not closed until every single bill is paid, all the contracts are officially terminated, and the final reports are filed and put away. It's the essential wrap-up that happens after the ribbon has already been cut.
And this process really breaks down into two main pillars. First, there's the internal closure. This is all about your own team. Finalizing the files, officially reassigning people to new projects, doing performance reviews. Then you have external closure. This involves everyone else, paying off those last vendor invoices, formally ending contracts, and making sure all their equipment is off your site.
And this quote just brilliantly illustrates the cost of skipping this step. Professor Porter tells this story about a company whose records showed they had learned a lesson 3 separate times, and then they went and made the exact same mistake a 4th time. They wrote it down, sure,
but they never truly learned. They never integrated that knowledge. That right there is a failure of closure. Now look, in the real world, projects don't always have a neat and tidy storybook ending. And that's exactly why having a formal process is so critical. It helps you manage all the different, messy ways a project can actually conclude.
So you might assume most projects just end normally, but look at this number. It might surprise you. Only about 69% of projects actually end normally. That leaves a huge chunk, almost a third, that end for entirely different reasons.
And here's what that looks like. That 31% slice of the pie is significant. It's made up of projects that get cut short, projects that straight up fail, and projects that just drift on forever. And every single one of those non-standard endings needs to be managed just as carefully as a successful one.
So here's a quick look at those endings. You've got your ideal, normal closure. You have the perpetual zombie project we just talked about. A project can fail, which should always be treated as a learning opportunity. It can be ended prematurely, or it can get canceled because of a changed priority. Each one of these needs a formal closure process to capture any value and knowledge from it.
Okay, so what's the big takeaway from all this? Why go through all the trouble of auditing and formal closure when you could just be jumping into the next big thing?
Because this right here is the crucial point. This is how an organization actually learns. It's the process that transforms the raw, messy experience of a single project into actual wisdom that benefits every single future project. It's how you stop making the same expensive mistakes over and over and over again.
And the payoff for doing this right? Oh, it is huge. You avoid repeating those costly mistakes, which saves you so much time and money. You officially free up your team so they can focus their energy on new, valuable work. You build a knowledge base for the whole organization. And you leave clients and stakeholders with that lasting feeling that the project was handled professionally from start to finish. So the next time you get to the end of a project and you start to feel that pressure to just get it done and move on, I want you to ask yourself this question. Are you just going to move on, or are you going to take those final, crucial steps to truly close the project and capture its value forever?